What if you had an AI spy? Not like a spy powered by artificial intelligence, but an actual human that would go out there kind of incognito and talk to the smartest people in the world and bring you back all of the information, all of the hidden trends, everything that's happening in the AI world, but maybe people aren't talking about, and those things that are going to impact your business. Guess what? That's me. I work for you. And today we're going to be talking about Undercover Insights 11 hidden AI trends from Microsoft's Ignite conference that will shape how we work. I'm excited for this one, y'all. I hope you are too. Welcome to Everyday AI. If you're new here, what's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host in Everyday AI. It's for you. Like I said, I work for you. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping everyday people not just learn about AI. What good is that? It's all about how you can leverage it, how you can actually put all this to work for your company and your career. If that sounds like you, is that what you're trying to do? If so, you are in the right place. This is your daily home. If you haven't already, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. While you're there, people don't know this. We have now like 400 plus episodes. You can go back, you can listen to old episodes on our website, you can read about them, you can watch the video. It is a free generative AI university. I'll say it is the number one most unbiased place that you can go learn about AI from the experts. So make sure you go do that and sign up for our free daily newsletter. All right, before we get into today's topic, let's first start as we do by going over the AI news. Hey, live stream audience, got a little live stream prompt for you. So first, Anthropic has introduced Model Context Protocol to enhance AI connectivity. So Anthropic has just launched the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, a new open source standard designed to improve AI models' access to data. So the MCP aims to break down data silos by allowing AI models to connect seamlessly with various data sources, such as business tools and softwares, enhancing their ability to produce relevant responses. So this protocol facilitates two-way connections, that's the big piece here, between data sources and AI applications, such as Anthropic's Claude, enabling developers to create MCP servers and clients for efficient data integration. So according to Anthropic, companies like Block and Apollo have already integrated MCP into their workflow, while development platforms such as Replit, Codium, and SourceGraph are adding support for MCP. So by providing a standard protocol, Anthropic envisions a future where AI systems maintain context across different tools, replacing fragmented integrations with a more unified architecture. So right now, subscribers to Anthropic's Claude Enterprise Plan, Enterprise Plan only right now, can connect the Claude chatbot to internal systems using MCP servers with pre-built servers available for platforms like Google Drive, Slack, and GitHub. So this is kind of similar, I'd say a little bit better, but way more technical versus, OpenAI's recent new feature called Work with Apps, which allows ChatGPT to interact with coding apps similar to MCP's objectives, but OpenAI focuses on collaboration one way, but much, much easier. All right, our next piece of AI news. NVIDIA is bringing new sounds to our ears. So NVIDIA has just introduced Fugato. Hopefully that's how it's pronounced. Maybe the new AI model should have told us how it was pronounced. So it is a new AI model designed to generate music and audio. So this technology can modify voices and create unique sounds, making it particularly relevant for music, film, and video game producers. So Fugato stands out by transforming existing audio, such as converting a piano line into human vocals or altering accents and mood in speech recordings. So NVIDIA currently has no plans to release Fugato publicly, citing concerns over potential misuse, such as generating misinformation or infringing on copyrights. Yeah, so similar to how we've been waiting 11 months now for OpenAI Sora. So the model was trained, according to NVIDIA, using open source data, and NVIDIA is deliberating on the best approach for its public release. So NVIDIA's cautious approach mirrors that of other companies like OpenAI and Meta, who are also exploring the implications of releasing generative audio and video models. All right, in our last piece of AI news for the day, Republican President-elect Donald Trump is contemplating the appointment of an AI czar to oversee federal AI policy, according to reports from Axios. So this move underscores the growing importance of artificial intelligence in government operations and policymaking. Tesla CEO Elon Musk is expected to play a role in shaping the future discussions and applications of AI, although he will reportedly not be the AI czar. The potential appointment of an AI czar highlights the increasing recognition of AI's impact on various sectors. All right, so make sure to sign up for our daily newsletter. We'll have more on these stories and a whole lot more. All right, let's get into it. So if you don't know, I was at Microsoft's conference last week. So their big once a year conference. It was called Microsoft Ignite here in Chicago. So first, thanks to We Communications and Microsoft for hosting us at the Microsoft Ignite event. And there was more than 10,000 people there from all over the world. But I would say these are really the leaders in technology and really shaping the future of how we work. So, it's obviously not just Microsoft. And I probably met with a few dozen or talked with a few dozen Microsoft people, product managers, people, VPs, right? A little of everyone, but also, every single big company, I'd say almost every single big company in the world was there, right? So, NVIDIA, IBM, consulting companies like EY, right? It's really a who's who of the business world and the tech world and the AI world. So here's kind of what I did. When I'm talking about undercover insights, like what the heck is that? Well, I'm lucky enough to get invited to some of the biggest conferences in the world, like Microsoft Ignite, right? NVIDIA's GTC, the AI Summit, right? I'm very lucky. People invite us out to attend these conferences. They want to hear, feedback, all that good stuff, right? But when I go to these conferences, I learn from zero. All right. What that means is it's kind of like I go undercover, right? A lot of times I'll go up to a booth or a person, probably knowing a decent amount about that thing already, but I'm like, explain this to me like I know nothing, right? That's what I call learning from zero. I think it's important. Even for someone like myself that literally talks about AI every day, I've been able to talk to the smartest people in the world about AI. I start from zero. So that's what I mean by going up undercover. Right? Even though I might know very much about a certain product or company and what they're doing in AI, I like going from zero and talking with these, CEOs of, they're CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. There's, VPs of, $1 trillion companies. Some of the smartest people in the world were on the Microsoft Ignite showroom floor. And I asked them a couple of questions. And it's the return of Hot Take Tuesday, y'all. So let me know if I should actually spice it up here or just keep it straight. It's always up to you. All right. So here's questions that I normally ask, right? I say, what's your take on the latest AI, right? And yes, talked a lot of Copilot. Microsoft Copilot announced more than 90 new AI features, some of them small, some of them huge. So I was talking with a lot of people, Microsoft and others, about the latest in AI. So not just the latest in Copilot, right? I'm talking Gemini, I'm talking OpenAI, I'm talking Claude, right? I'm talking Runway, Midjourney, right? Every single big, AI tool. I'm asking people about that. And then number two, I'm saying, what are people asking the most about? And what's the answer, right? As there's thousands of people, right, going through the kind of showroom floor. And if you've never been to these big, AI conferences, it's like any other conference. There's, I lost track, I would say between 200 to 300 booths, right? So hundreds of companies are there trying to showcase the latest in AI and their technology, right? So I do two things. What's your latest take on AI? And what are people asking the most about? And what's the answer? All right. Michael and Ted say spice it up. We'll see. So here's the answers to those questions, to talking to dozens of people, learning from zero, not going in with, any thoughts on these conversations and many hours of conversations, right? So this is, was able to interview a lot of Microsoft execs. We have another show that'll be dropping tomorrow on that, on Copilot pages, which I'm excited about. Was able to also have a conversation with the global head of generative AI at Coca-Cola, right? So we'll be releasing that episode soon as well. So yes, I did have kind of on the record, off the record, conversations with some pretty big names in AI, but then also, like I said, just dozens of just industry leaders. And these 11 insights, these 11 trends are things that really stuck out to me. So these aren't necessarily predictions, right? I'll probably do a big prediction show for 2025, but these are some of the biggest trends that I spotted. And you, everyday AI audience, I want you to know. I want you to know what's happening behind the scenes, what people are actually talking about, right? Sometimes they don't want to talk about this out loud, right? But that's my job, right? I want you to, when you tune in here every day, I want you to know that the information you're getting, it's not just like some random stuff on the internet, right? This is what people care about. This is what they're worried about. This is what they're excited about. These are 11 trends. Let's get into it. Trend number 1. And this one's a little more Microsoft and Copilot related, but there's too many Copilots in Microsoft Copilot, right? People are confused. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, right? So you have normal Copilot within BizChat. You have now SharePoint Copilots. You have autonomous AI Copilots. You have Copilot Studio. You have different Copilot agents in Teams and the facilitator agent and the interpreter agent, right? One overwhelming thing that I heard, and this one is a little more Microsoft specific, is people said, there's too many Copilots. There's too many AI, right? It's everywhere. How do I know which one to use? Do I start in SharePoint? Do I, go into normal biz chat? Should I be working with Copilot inside of Teams? And well, I'd hate to tell you, but there is no right answer to this, right? And this is coming from the people building the technology itself over at Microsoft. I said, y'all, like, is there a visual map that says, hey, if I need this insight, where should I go? Where should I start my Copilot journey, right? And a lot of these are new features that will be rolling out. And a lot of them you do have to have, your company has to have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. More on that in a couple minutes. Had some troubling trends and insights from that. But so many people are confused about, they're saying, okay, our organization is 100% in Microsoft Copilot 365. And I know I need to use an AI for this. I need to use a Copilot. I need an agent. But where the heck do I go? Do I use one of the pre-built agents? Do I go into Copilot Studio and try to build something on my own? Do I go into SharePoint, right? Now SharePoint has agents by default, just agents built just on that data in SharePoint by default. You don't even got to build it. And everyone's like, how do I use it? There's so much AI. It's overwhelming, right? Well, unfortunately, there's no right answer. It's kind of like, at least for now, a choose your own adventure, right? I do actually hope, and I did request, I'm like, hey, it would be great if Microsoft came out with a visual kind of decision tree or roadmap on when you should use what Copilot, right? But from what I heard, it's like, it doesn't really matter, right? It depends on your workflow. It depends on the outcome that you need. So what I was told is, don't choose the car and the road when you're starting. Choose the destination. Say, what do I want to accomplish with AI inside of Microsoft Copilot, right? And let that be kind of your GPS in terms of where do you start versus trying to start in a specific place and get to a specific outcome. So let the outcome be your guide. And, hopefully that will make much more sense in the coming weeks and months as a lot of these Copilot features are fully rolled out, right? So some of them right now are in private preview. Some of them are in public preview. Some are, generally available. We did a whole show on that last week on some of the highlights of these 90 plus new AI features, but it really just depends. All right. Hey, shout out Nisiani. All right. She's doing some great work in Chicago here, but one of my friends there at Microsoft was trying to connect with a lot of people, but man, there are so many people there. And hey, y'all, if you do have questions, get them going. Get them in right now. I'll try to answer some as we go in at the end. So trend number 2 that I noticed, Microsoft is light years ahead of Google and Apple on AI. And I'm not saying that. Yes, I need to be very transparent, y'all. Yes, Microsoft is an advertiser on our show. Yes. But I've been saying this since day one, since before Microsoft was an advertiser of this show. Google and Apple are so far behind. It is scary. It is scary. Right? And I don't want that to happen either. I don't want one company to be running so far ahead of its 2 closest competitors, because I think, in theory, Microsoft could really pause or slow down AI innovation, which selfishly I don't want them to do, right? I don't think they're going to. I mean, look at what was announced at this conference. And not only that, Microsoft announced a huge wave of AI announcements like 6 weeks before, right? So they had their wave 2 announcements, which we covered on this show. So it's not like Microsoft is slowing down AI innovation, but they could if they wanted to. I mean, they're literally lapping people in in a mile race, right? Like you run around the track 4 times here in the US, they're already lapping their competition. It is not even close. All right. But like I said, it's also a little troubling how far behind others are. Google's go-to-market for AI is disjointed as it can be, right? Google has fantastic standalone products, right? Google AI Studio, spectacular, right? It's for developers to go in there. It's like a sandbox, right? It's free, but Google trains on your data inside AI Studio. But that's the only place you can use, unless you're using the API. But if you're using the Gemini chat on the front end, you're using a model that's usually between, 6 to 9 months old. Google, it is so hard to use Google's AI, Google's Gemini AI, right? Apple, I mean, we don't even need to talk about them, right? Like Apple, it's the equivalent if a company right now just came out with an MP3 player, right? Like, look at our new MP3 player. It's like, yo, that's decades old. Apple is so far behind, right? And not that this is what this is about. And full disclosure, right? I own stocks in all these companies. So, I'm not trying to influence or impact anyone's, investing decisions. But I do think you have to pay attention to how Wall Street, and how the general public is valuing these companies when it comes to AI. And I don't know, I'm scratching my head. Because Apple, I mean, all 3 of these companies, Apple, Google, and Microsoft, have over the past 2 years have seen, pretty much, different. I will say they're all going up, right? They're all going up above market averages over the last 2 years. But that's kind of surprising to me, because so much of these companies, their public sentiment, what's happening, in their earnings calls, right? Everyone just has to use the word AI, large language models, agents, as many times as possible, right? And then they see how their stock reacts. I don't understand. I don't understand why, right? As an example, Apple and Google are still trending at the same upward trajectory in terms of, Wall Street projections and public sentiment as Microsoft. Because Microsoft is running that 1 mile lap on the track with a jetpack, right? And right now, Google's just running without a jetpack, and Apple is intentionally putting quicksand in front of its path. What we have right now in Apple intelligence is dumb. It is. It's literally technology that was available 4 years ago. These are these great new AI announcements that we're getting from Apple 4 years behind, right? And I've had people at Apple confirm that to me off the record, FYI. All right. Let's get going. We got a lot to get to here. 3, there's a huge debate right now, and this one is a little more Microsoft specific, on seats, right? So think of large enterprise companies, right? Let's say your company is pretty big, Fortune 500 company. Let's say you have 10,000 employees, right? Uh, Companies are still saying, we're going to wait this. We're going to wait this. We're not going to give everyone, Microsoft 365 Copilot. Right now, there's a big debate, and I talk to people on both sides of this debate, right? So essentially, you have IT leaders who are withholding seats, right? Because right now, aside from, your standard Microsoft Office license, right, which everyone needs to use Microsoft on their computers, right? Microsoft's, Word, Excel, etc., right? But you need an additional Microsoft 365 Copilot license, right? So to use all this AI, you have to pay another $30 a month per user, right? So I understand. I understand, right? Because when you have, 10,000 employees, right? I don't know. It's like 300,000 a month, right? Something like that. I'm not a math major, but it's a lot of times it's a multi-million-dollar investment for these big enterprise companies to give all of their employees access to Microsoft 365 Copilot. So two sides of the debate here on why this is happening, and I don't understand it. Number one, yeah, IT leaders are withholding seats because they're worried about costs and not ROI. So your IT leaders that are sometimes in charge, right? And they have a certain budget for software, hardware, etc. And they're mapping a lot of times either months or quarters in advance or a year in advance, which is not good anymore. Companies have to change that. You can't do that anymore. But then on the other side of the coin, you have CEOs. So IT leaders are worried about cost, but not ROI. And then your C-suite people are primarily focused on ROI. And that's why they don't give out seats. So it's like, what's going to happen first? Is the egg going to crack, or are we going to get scrambled eggs for breakfast? Well, everyone wants scrambled eggs for breakfast, but no one wants the egg to crack. You can't have both. I don't understand. It's almost like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a big sporting event, right? I actually had a story about this once. It was the Cubs World Series run in 2016. It's actually a long story. I'll save that for another day. But, sometimes, there's always ticket scalpers, right? And they're like, hey, I got tickets for sale. And then the guy standing right next to them is like, hey, I'll buy your tickets, right? And I'm always, tongue in cheeky. I'm like, hey, you guys should talk to each other. You're trying to sell tickets. He's trying to buy tickets. Like, you guys are right next to each other, right? But I kind of feel like doing the same thing for C-suite and IT leaders, right? Hey, C-suite, you want to show ROI. Okay. Hey, IT leader, you won't give out seats because you're not seeing ROI. Well, how can you have the scrambled eggs breakfast without cracking the egg? You can't. I still think, and this is a trend that I continue to see, because I think people aren't unlearning. I talk about this on the show all the time. You've got to unlearn. You still have enterprise leaders in their minds working like it's 2019. It's not. You can't work like that anymore. Yeah, you might have to take a huge hit on the IT budget. You might have to burn through a couple $1,000,000. Yeah, I know, wild, right? But you don't have time. You don't have time to do these long, slow rollouts of generative AI anymore. The fact that literally enterprise companies still haven't given out, I'm talking, billion, multi-billion, trillion, some $1 trillion companies, right? At least in terms of market cap, haven't given AI to all their employees. How's everyone supposed to learn, right? And that $30 a month, y'all, as long as you know what you're doing, which isn't very hard. We teach people for free literally all the time in our free Prime Prompt Polish course. I think we have 540 people signed up for today. As long as you know what you're doing, you get that $30 back, at least in productivity, almost instantly, right? Yes, there's another discussion to be had about, okay, right now the ROI, which a lot of companies aren't seeing, is, well, they're winning back time. And they don't know how to convert that new time into new revenue, right? but you're getting back a positive ROI. You're just, number one, you don't have a plan for what happens when AI works. Number two, and this is especially the truth for a lot of companies that are remote, hybrid, etc., you're just winning time. You just maybe aren't seeing it. Number four, personalized AI content is coming. My gosh, right? So yeah, a lot of this is around Microsoft Ignite, right? You can have a personalized agent that you can build with no code, right? Non-technical person can go build agents that help them do their work, right? Or agents that help them summarize highly technical content into a way that you like to learn. But that's not necessarily what I'm just talking about. Again, we're talking about outside of the scope of just Microsoft Ignite. Personalized AI content is coming. The cloud technology is getting better. The hardware is getting better. NVIDIA Ace. I hope to bring someone on the show to talk about that in the coming weeks, right? But I'm talking about a future. Personalized websites powered by AI, personalized emails, dynamically personalized movies, personalized TV shows, personalized learning, personalized video games, where everything renders in real time. It's not science fiction. It's coming, right? It's crazy. Closed door session. This was at the NVIDIA's GTC conference back in March, right? Someone asked NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang about, hey, in the future, will, as an example, video games be able to render themselves in real time? So what that means is AI is creating video games on the fly, right? Which is a wild concept. And he said, oh, you know, it's probably in a couple of years. I just saw it with my eyes at Microsoft Ignite. It's already here, right? It's not publicly released yet. A lot of these things I'm seeing maybe haven't been publicly released, right? But it's all of this is here. Content that is personalized for you on the fly. It's not science fiction. It's happening. Number 5. Everyone and their moms, grandmas, dog sitters, best friends, third grade teachers, X is selling agents. Everyone. Agents. Yeah. If you thought, you know, LLM and AI and chatbot and GPT were the buzzwords of the AI wave, just wait. People selling agents or promoting agents at their, you know, company, right? Software companies, hardware companies, cloud companies, computing companies, you know, security companies. Everyone now has agents. Do we need them all, right? I think a lot of them just want to stay highly relevant. And here's what I noticed. There was long lines at Microsoft Ignite for anything that had to do with agents, right? And then I'm looking, right? I mean, this was especially true for Microsoft. Love what Microsoft did, by the way. They literally probably, I should have counted. They had probably at least 50 booths, right? And they had product leaders, people who were giving big speeches, would go and then talk to consumers, talk to, you know, the Microsoft MVPs, you know, sales partners, et cetera, and answer questions, which is great. I would love to see other big tech companies doing that, by the way. But when you can go up there and you're seeing, as an example, right, someone who can literally tell you anything about Microsoft security or, you know, Microsoft's, you know, data governance, right? And no one's there. And then you have a line of 15, 20, 30 people. There was a couple of times I'm like, wait, is like Microsoft CEO over here? Like, what are all these people gathering for? It's just because everyone only cares about agents. And I get it. It's the sexy thing of the fourth quarter, agents, right? But even companies that I think have no reason to be building or promoting AI agents, yeah, they're doing it. So I think this is going to be kind of like the GPT wrappers of, you know, 2022 and 2023, when all of a sudden every startup company, oh, we do AI, right? And then OpenAI or Microsoft or Google or Anthropic releases one new feature to their AI chatbot platform, and that company becomes useless, right? And okay, well, they were just a thin wrapper for something. So now I think that's what we're going to be seeing with agents. Companies services that you think have no reason to be promoting agentic AI, yeah, they're all doing it. So get prepared for that. A bunch of needless agents, which I think is probably bad for adoption because you're just going to be seeing agents everywhere. And we're going to become numb to the potential power in business transformation of agentic AI because we're just going to see it everywhere, right? It's like when your nose becomes nose blind to the smelly odors in your room because you just become used to it. You become desensitized. I think that's where we're already going to be with agents here in a few months. All right. Trend number six. Small Copilot AI features will have a bigger impact off the bat than the big AI features. All right. So I would say the two biggest kind of headline grabbers of Microsoft Ignite, both the conference and what people were talking about on the showroom floor, was Copilot Studio and autonomous agents, right? And if you care about that, we did have the VP of AI and Agents, Ray Smith, on the show last week. Fantastic interview, by the way, so make sure you go listen to that. But I don't think when we look in the coming months, I don't think that's going to be the most impactful AI that we see from Microsoft. It's going to be some of these smaller features, all right? Because most people, even though it's no code, right? Copilot Studio is no code. It works with all your data dynamically. There's some low code options, but you don't have to be a technical person to go in and build an autonomous AI agent powered by the most powerful large language models in the world that works with your data dynamically and can make decisions on your behalf. That's crazy that is here right now. But it's also maybe even crazier that that's not the thing, I think, at least right away, that is going to provide the biggest returns. It is the smaller AI offerings from Copilot, all right? Actually, sometimes I do this. Go ahead. I actually created a whole list of the 5 AI features or AI tools from Microsoft that I think in the short term are going to be bigger than AI agents and bigger than Copilot Studio's autonomous agents, all right? So share this show. All right, so if you're listening on LinkedIn or Twitter, just share it. Reach out to me, say, I shared the show. All right, and if you're listening on the podcast, we always put the links to those things. So share those, and I will give you those 5 things. I didn't want to put them in today's show because it would have made the show longer by like 30 minutes, and I already got to go quick. All right, number 7, trend that I noticed from Microsoft Ignite, simplified stories sell AI implementation. And I do think this is like, duh, right? As a former journalist, I should know this. Stories sell, right? People learn through stories. I think over the first kind of 2 years of this quote unquote generative AI wave, things have gone too technical, right? People are looking too far into the future. They're aiming too big, right? I think simplified stories, simplified use cases of generative AI, of large language models are what every single company needs. All right, so I'll probably get this person from Microsoft on the show, but someone there shared a great use case, an example use case for small businesses. So the example was, a paper company, right? And it was showing in how in Copilot Studio, and she kind of built an agent live or kind of, showed how it was built. But it's the example of, okay, a customer, small business owner gets a long email from someone buying office equipment, right? A bunch of chairs, paint, paper, etc. And said, hey, what do you have? Do you have all this, right? And generally, right, if you're the owner of a small business or if you're in charge of sales or whatever, you get an email like that. There's a series of probably 4, 5, 6, 7 manual tasks that you have to do. And there's a lot of back and forth communication. But she went through and said, hey, when you use Copilot Studio, here's how you can connect it to your database. Here's how I can stay up to date. It's going to automatically, you don't even have to read that email. It's automatically can either send it or create a draft for you, and it can bring all that data in real time, right? It's a great use case. I think a trend that we're seeing right now in AI implementation for companies that haven't successfully done it is they're thinking too big, right? They're trying to see 40% productivity gains across the organization. They're trying to fine-tune their own models, right? As their first major AI implementation of 2024. Start simple. You have to start simple. You have to be able to measure something that people kind of hate doing, right? These mundane, manual tasks. Yeah, I said the word manual twice there. Number 8, even experts can't keep up with the latest AI advancements and the latest models. All right. Here's what I mean by that. And this is actually, I think it's a humbling situation or a humbling experience for all of us, right? I was like, wow, that's crazy. All right. Yeah. I talk about AI every day. I write about it every day. I read about it every day. Sometimes I don't sleep, right? And being able to go and talk to different experts at different companies and people saying, yeah, I can't keep up with AI, right? Some of the biggest companies in the world, they're saying I can't keep up. I think having that approach is important, right? We're all in this together, right? No one out there has 20 years of experience in large language models. This is a new game. And I think understanding for all of us out there that even the experts can't keep up because there's usually dozens of noteworthy updates every single day. But we're all rushing there. We're all trying to figure it out. No one can. That was a surprising trend that I heard, right? Talking to experts and again, learning from zero. So not going up and saying, hey, I saw, this, and this happen in your industry. I saw your competitor release this yesterday. People can't keep up, right? So you could look at that as a downside, or you could look at that as your competitive advantage. Shameless plug, listen to us every day. Read our newsletter every day. It's a cheat code because then you can be smarter than even the experts in many cases, right? Because people kind of get stuck in their well of experience or their well of expertise, and then they lose sight of what's going on the surface, right? So with everyday AI, you can stay up to date there on the surface. But even the experts are building faster than they can keep up with. All right. Number 9, couple more. Everyone's more worried about the cost than learning, right? Most, and this is a trend I saw, people don't care about understanding AI. They don't. They don't want to read about it. They don't want to sandbox it. They don't want to go side by side and, compare, different outcomes and really have, conversations. They don't want to break things. They don't want to reverse engineer things. They want to click one button and watch money pile up. It's not how this works. It's not how this works. There's been this huge paradigm shift, right? And I don't know. I blame social media, or I don't know who I blame, right? But you always see these, posts online or blog posts or whatever, right? These sensationalized news headlines. Oh, company X implemented AI and, they cut down time on this by 95%. So companies just are looking for an easy button. There's no easy button in AI, although once you learn, you're just in a room full of easy buttons, right? But you've got to almost build that easy button yourself. People care more about the cost. Oh, how much does this cost? How much does this cost? Never. No one's ever asking, how does it work? What can this do for us? Everyone's, how much does this cost? How can we scale this, right? What if it's the wrong solution? And I get it. Number 8, number 9 here relate to each other, but it is this breakneck pace of people just wanting to keep up. They're like, oh, 10 new options were released today. What does each one cost? All right, let's go with this one. Go. No. You got to learn. You got to learn. You got to look under the hood. You got to understand the road. You got to understand the map. I think augmented learning is the separator for businesses. All right? Because you have to learn the 101 before you can profit off the 202, right? Think of it like college. You got to take those 101 classes so you can have a baseline understanding. If you want to be an expert, if you want your business to succeed, if you want your career to thrive, you got to understand the basics. Two more, 10. For our technical friends out there, a trend that I notice, compute, inference, and training costs will fall. I know right now there's this hot topic debate of, oh, AI is hitting a wall, right? No, it's not. It's not. It's literally not. That's just something that, gets clicks online and gets attention and gets comments. AI is not hitting a wall because compute, inference, and training costs are falling faster than ever, right? So a trend that I'm seeing now across the board is kind of this chip shift mentality. All right. Yeah, I know this is a little technical, but for the most part, so many of the AI tools that we're using today, right? They were probably first conceived and first built on GPUs, right? General purpose GPUs, which is not necessarily the best thing. So a lot of these tools and a lot of the underlying technology of thousands of tools was originally built and trained by using a lot of general purpose GPUs, which essentially, to put it simply, right? And sometimes I oversimplify things, so the accuracy for the 1% might not be there, but for everyone else it is, right? We've essentially over the last, I'll say from 2015 to 2023. We're using a lot of general purpose GPUs, which is not always the best thing to do, right? So now we've seen over the last year, and I think it's really ramping up, this increased attention to compute, inference, training costs, and even on-device AI, right? So now instead of companies using general purpose GPUs, which is sometimes wasteful, sometimes slow, and sometimes limiting on the potential of whatever, AI it is that the company is building, now there's a shift. And we're seeing more NPUs, neural processing units. We're seeing more DPUs, data processing units. So, it starts from the top down, right? But now we're seeing hardware, right, that has NPUs. So even when we're talking about running AI on a local machine, it's getting faster, better, smarter, cheaper, more energy efficient, right? Which is huge. Energy is huge, right? And I actually walked away from this conference somewhat optimistic about this, AI's overall environmental impact. All right. Had a great episode on that, by the way. We'll make sure to leave it in the show notes. All right. And then last but not least, sorry to leave this on a bummer, y'all. Number 11 trend. If you're not using AI daily in 2025, your company will start to die. I'm sorry. I got to stop being nice. I've been trying to be the nice guy for 2 years, right? Doing this every single day. Oh, you need to adopt or else you're going to struggle. No. If your company is not using AI daily in 2025, your company will start to die. Not saying you're going to go out of business. That's not what I was saying, right? I've said this since day one, right? 2023 was the year of experimentation. 2024 was the year of implementation. 2025, that's separation. That's where your company will start to die. You will start to lose business. You will start to lose profit. You will start to lose customers. You will start to lose whatever. If you are still not fully going all in on AI and learning about it, then 2026 is extinction. The good thing about having a daily podcast with transcripts that you can go and search on the internet, I've been saying this since day one. Nothing has changed. Companies are going to start dying very soon. If you are still, as an organization, especially here in the US, let me preface that, US-based organizations where it is the Wild West, use as much AI as possible. No laws, no rules, no regulations. If you're not using it daily, your company's going to start dying, period, because everyone else is. You can't be the last company to get on this tech innovation. You can't be, looking at the Gartner hype cycle every month thinking it's going to change or save your company. Smaller companies are going to gobble you up. Your bigger competitors are going to eat up your market share like the last piece of pie on that Thanksgiving, right? That last slice. They're going to take it from you. They don't care if you eat. If you don't stay hungry, your company will not eat. You got to be doing this every day, y'all. I think I'm going to stop being nice. Sorry. 2025, you're going to have meme guy Jordan. All right. And that's not just me, right? We talked about this before. There was a very, famous and very helpful study in the Harvard Business Review. They just showed jobs, right? They're like, oh, yeah. Everyone says, oh, AI is going to create more jobs, then it's going to take away. And that was the premise of my first ever episode of Everyday AI, like almost 2 years ago. And I said, no, that's not how it works. All right. Now we're finally seeing, because it takes a long time to get this data, like, no, that's not what's happening here. AI is taking away more jobs than it creates. Yes, AI is going to create tens of millions of jobs that we don't know will exist in the coming years and decades. But in the short term, it is taking away jobs, right? And again, not trying to end this on a pessimistic note. So let me twist this. If you're listening to this, you're already ahead. If you implement this, you will not just survive, you will thrive. All right. That's it, y'all. I know a longer one today, but someone said, bring the fire. So I had to sip the coffee, crank up the temperature a little bit. So I hope this was helpful. So these Undercover Insights, 11 hidden AI trends. I know they were all over the place, but so was the conference, right? There's a lot of Microsoft that we talked about today, but talking to big consulting companies, technology companies, AI companies, healthcare, automotive, transportation, right? Like every single sector. I talked to dozens of people, and I wanted to deliver you all what I'm seeing, where this is going. So I hope this was helpful. So if you haven't already, I did kind of promote this and tease this, right? So if this was helpful, share this, please, right? People are always like, oh, Jordan, what can I do? I listen to you every day. Share this thing, Share this thing, y'all. So if you are listening here on LinkedIn or maybe on Twitter, just go ahead, click that repost button, tag someone in the comments, whatever, then send me a message. And I'm going to put together a quick little, probably video on the 5 smaller Copilot AI tools that I think will make a bigger impact sooner than these marquee, autonomous agents Copilot Studio. I have 5 of them. All right. So please share this. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please go to youreverydayai.com. Sign up for the free daily newsletter. We're going to be recapping today's show, and we recap every other show. So please go do that. Please also tune in tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.